Welcome to another Lawn Fawn Video Thursday. Today we're going to be making a card using border punches and all sorts of other fun stuff. So here's my standard size card, and here is a set called Polka Dot Basics from Papertrey Ink again. Obviously I am in love with them, and the cool thing about this set is it's got open dots, closed dots, giant dots, little dots. You can just have fun for hours. So this one is a really big open circle polka dot. So right now I'm just laying it on my acrylic block with the grids, just like I've shown you guys before. And I'm just going to show you now with the card. We're doing the card widthwise, which means the stamp doesn't really cover everything. So even if we're doing a wide card, you can still stamp it on the shorter side, the 4 1/4 inch side, as opposed to the 5 1/2. So you stamp it the other way, and it still looks good because they're polka dots, and then you can do it wide. So that's what I do, so that I don't have to try to fill in on the side. I end up screwing it up. So I'm using a color box pigment ink called Frost White, which is a great name, and I'm just covering the stamp set right now. I'm just bringing the ink to the stamp set because if not, I get white ink all over the acrylic block. So just covering, making sure it's all there, and now I'm going to get ready to stamp on my card. So I'm just lining it up. I'm going to unfold the card because it's a little bit easier that way for me. I'm just lining up with the lines, with the grids, that way everything's straight. And you can see my head a little there. I just have to lean over to make sure it's straight. It's a little hard to see from an angle. So I'm just stamping the polka dots, and I'm going to fast forward a little bit now and just show you the last round of polka dots. So here I go with the last round. And that's just a scratch paper underneath to catch some of the ink that I got all over my work surface there. So here we go, a white polka dotted card, which is perfect. And now we're going to move on to some more stamping. So this next set is by October Afternoon, and I love it. It has a deer, of course I love it, but it also has this really cute apple. So I'm going to use this apple and put it on a small acrylic block. And so there we go, just kind of adhering it into the middle. And I'm going to get out some white cardstock and stamp this this apple in an ink called Real Red is the name. So it's a really bright red, that classic, red color. So here we go, and this is a dye ink now this time, the ones that dry really quickly, and I think have a really crisp image. So I'm just getting this stamp covered. And I'm just going to stamp this apple on this scratch piece of white cardstock 3 times. So there I go, and you can see just all it needs is just a little extra coverage, and you just go down, and it's a great image. Not too much detail on this, so it's really easy to get a good look at it. So here are my 3 apples, and I want to punch them out with a 1 1/4 inch scallop punch. So what I do is I always turn the punch over so I can see what I'm punching out. So I'm going to get that apple centered in my punch and punch out these 3 apples. So I'm just going to show you the first punch and then fast forward. So there I go, punches out. It's always fun. So just trying to get it perfect and give it a little punch. There it goes, and I just repeat it for the other 2. And now we're looking at a Fiskars border punch. This one is called Threading Water. It's really, really pretty. I'm kind of obsessed with border punches. So I'm going to show you a way to use this. I pre-cut a piece of cardstock, and I try to center it as close as possible. I'm not trying to be perfect here, just, is what looks good. And I just press down, and you're going to see that I have 5 scallops there. So I'm going to show you a trick that I use with these Fiskars punches to line up everything. See, there's 3 sort of printed on images of these scallops on either side. So what you need to do is just count back 2 of those scallops and then line up that 3rd scallop with the scallop that you see there, just as I just did. Now this is going to give you a perfectly lined up punch. It's not going to overlap or miss one or anything, and you'll see how good it looks. So I'm just punching down, and you'll see now I have a big row, but I still use the same concept. I count back 2, pick that 3rd one, line it up with that first image, put it right down, and punch again, and I have a perfectly scalloped border that just looks really great. So that's my little scallop border that's going to go on the card. So right now I'm going to move on to stamping my sentiment. I'm using a wooden block this time, and so I can't see through it like my clear stamp. So I'm using what's called a stamp-a-ma-jig. It has this clear sheet, a little kind of T-square ruler, and what you do is you take your stamp and you ink it up. you put that clear sort of transparency sheet up in the T part of the T-square ruler, and then you stick your stamp right down in that T-square, and it gives you the image of the stamp on a clear sheet. So now you kind of have the idea of a clear stamp. So you take that clear sheet to your card and line up where you want your stamp to go on your clear card, on your craft card here. And so I'm just trying to center everything. I always have a problem with centering, so I always have to measure because I don't know, I'm just not a good eyeballer. Right now I just got ink all over myself, which is how I always end up getting ink on my cards, so I just was wiping it off. Always check your hands because they always seem to be covered with stuff. So I've now placed that clear transparency where I want it to go. And I'm going to put my T-square back up to where it was and then remove the clear transparency. Then I'm going to ink up my wooden block stamp, my thank you stamp, again, and put it right in that T-square, and now it should line up just where that clear sheet was. So as you can see, I have a perfectly stamp centered thank you. So right now I'm just moving on to adhering my apples to a strip of green cardstock that's 2 inches by 4.5 inches that I pre-cut. It's like a cooking show here, it's like Martha here, pre-cutting things. And so I'm just lining it up. The best thing to do is to put, if you have like 3 images or 4 or 5, whatever it is, just do your middle ones first, because then it's much easier to try and line up your other images after that. So I'm just really trying to center that middle image, and then I'm going to keep putting on the other apples, and it's much easier to center, as you can see, once you already have that middle to go off of. So now I have these 3 cute little apples positioned there. And I'm going to move on to putting that scallop border underneath that. So I'm going to show you a trick with this that I really like to do. What I do is I take my image, and on the bottom back of it, my main that I want the scallop border to go onto, on the bottom back I put a line of adhesive. So you're going to see me do that with my adhesive transfer gun here. So I'm just putting a line of adhesive along the bottom edge of my cardstock. Then I'm going to take my scallop and I'm going to put a adhesive on the top edge of the scallop. So now what's going to happen is you can easily line up, and you're going to have adhesive on the top and bottom, making sure that you are completely secure. So right now I'm just going to line up these punches and kind of see, you can see how much of the scallop you want to show or not show. It's totally up to what you like to look at, and I just wanted just a little bit of it to show, just the scallop part, so it looked like a, you know, kind of a fancy trim. So I'm just lining it up. Sorry, there's my head a little again. To line up I have to look straight over it, and you can see the back, it's adhered, and on the front you just have this perfect trim that looks like you bought it that way, which I really love. So now we're going to move on to doing some corner rounding, because as usual I just can't help it. This is a different corner rounder. It does kind of a wider round, and my other one has been kind of cutting not that well lately, so I'm just using this one and just punching down, and now my top corners are rounded, which kind of matches the whole scallop thing with the rounded corners. So now we're going to go on to adding dimensionals. There you see them again. As I keep running out of these things because I use them so much. So as usual, I'm putting on too many because I over adhese everything, and I've got my now my Apple cardstock image with the dimensionals, and I'm just trying to center it over the card where it's going to look nice, about 1/2 inch on either side, and then just kind of centered over that thank you. And once again, my head again, just because it's the only way to center things. So there you go, a finished card. It's quick, it's cute. You could add any image you wanted to those scallop centers, change up the colors, and you just have a fun card. So there you go. So now I'm just going to show you some quick pictures of the card. In the pictures you'll see I ended up rounding the edges of the bottom of the card too, because once again I couldn't help myself. So here we go, is just the images of this Apple card, and thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in looking at my blog or my shop, there are the links, and I hope you have an amazing day.